Here we are, we're back for the Texas Grand Prix. Qualifying is underway, and an absolutely rapid lap puts us in pole position. It was 5 lights and away we go in Texas, and to be honest, there was no real competition here in the sprint, just driving and driving miles ahead of everyone. So I decided to let George Russell come through here to see if we can get some entertainment going, but after the smallest little side-by-side going through here, nothing else really happened and he couldn't be asked to battle, so we just went home to win. I decided because I kept winning and like it was nothing, I decided I'd make it harder for myself and increase my front wing all the way to the maximum. 5 red lights and away the Texas GP underwent. George Russell managed to overtake us on the line, so we tried to overtake him on the straight, but because of their wing, we don't have the straight line speed to do so. Approaching turn 1 and we try to get the switch back on him, but that doesn't work because he decides to randomly pump on the brakes. We managed to get past him through the twisted turns of the first sector, approaching lap 4, and he hasn't really challenged me ever since. We snatched the fastest lap from him, and into the pit lane we go. And there was a big problem with that, as it would seem my pit crew failed to put my tyres on properly once again. But it's no big deal because we came out in front of everyone that had pitted anyway. A bit of a dodgy exit and the new fastest lap sets us a bang on perfect 1:34.0. Love to see it. We decided to spice up these last few laps of me just winning by turning off the line assist. And to be completely honest, I wasn't even doing that bad without it. However, I could feel my tyres starting to drop off, and I ate my own words as George Russell seemed to catch up 2 seconds within the space of 1 lap. Luckily for us though, it was the final lap and he hadn't catched up yet, and we came home to take the winner of the Texas GP. Mexico race weekend came around. I decided to ask Google whether I'd do this Pirelli hat lap, 1 or 2 being yes and 3 being skip and advanced. And much like many other things in the world, Google fucking hates my existence, so she ended up picking 2. Yeah, fuck you Google. It became 5 red lights and away we go for some Pirelli hot lap torture. And to be completely honest, this wasn't even that bad of a run, so I'll just let this play out actually. That, for some fucked up reason, actually turned out oddly satisfying. For the first session of Mexico, I decided to do a practice session again, in which this time around we actually picked tyre management. We run the program and my dumbass forgot that I turned the fucking line off. Now, with tyre management, the faster your car gets in this game, the harder tyre management is. And me personally, I'm always been shit at tyre management, so this wasn't going to go great. But actually, to my surprise, we brought her home with a perfect score. It was time for me to commit vehicular suicide once again. Qualifying came around, and I'll be honest, this was the most shocking the car's ever felt. I genuinely could not do anything. So unsurprisingly, we ended up bringing it in P19. It was time for the race, and honestly, after that qualifying, I do not have high hopes at all. 5 red lights for Mexico, and away we all went. The start got a bit claustrophobic, but everything turned out okay. We pull a class move on Magnussen, another one on Ricciardo, and on the outside of Piastri to put us into P14. A move on Ocon puts us into P13, and a move on Tsunoda and Stroll puts us all the way into P11. Alonso and Gasly were having a crack at each other, and if it wasn't for my insanely sharp reaction speeds, then I would have definitely died. We make a very unstable move on Gasly, putting us into P9. He very obviously wants that position back, but we cut that off. Gasly sends it down the main straight, and so does Alonso because I quite literally have no speed. He comes flying down again, to which I literally still cannot do anything. And as if this race couldn't get any worse, my DRS decided to get stuck open and I had no rear downforce whatsoever. The fuck was that? They told me I would need to come pit to get it repaired, so I did just that. Now that did absolutely fuck all, because the rear wing was still stuck open and I had just wasted so much time. Now Mark tells me the DRS is stuck closed. What the fuck? Gasly's come off ahead, and all I'm practically doing now is hoping I can regain some positions after that whole pit to close your rear wing fiasco. Lap 9 approaches, and because I'm... Mate, people are racing today. We're approaching the people that have pitted, and we gain a few places, but not many. We passed the pit box again and gain a few more. Everything had worked out to plan, and we took back our P8. Our rear wing got stuck closed again. What the fuck did I do to deserve this luck? And now we're chasing Alonso down the straight again, hoping to get his position. We did end up getting his P8, but he came back and tried to take it, in which he did. Going up to turn 1, and the battle between me and him kept going, but in the end I managed to retake P8. He comes flying at me down the straight again. My smartass had the grand idea to pull a Kimi Raikkonen overtake and retain P8. He comes trying to fly past again, and I pull another totally legal move to try keep him behind. This shit has literally turned into Nico Rosberg vs Lewis Hamilton. I encounter another brief technical difficulty with the car, and Stroll and Alonso come out of nowhere to make it a 3 wide and turn me into an F1 sandwich. Alonso manages to get ahead and stay ahead again, slippy bastard. We make sure to get past him on the first turn in the final lap. And we turn the final corner and approach the checkered flag to take home P8. Not the best result, but a decent recovery considering what happened. The Brazilian race weekend comes around, and against my better judgment, I'll actually be partaking in these last few Pirelli hot laps to make the last, few races before the season end a bit more interesting. It was 5 lights for the Pirelli hot lap in Brazil. This time it was actually a drift one. And away we go, breaking all known laws of physics for some epic drift points. Unlike all the other Pirelli hot lap bullshit, the steering has been changed in the drift ones to make it a bit more snappy and responsive, which can actually bring some great entertainment. We got our bronze, then our silver, then finally our gold, then finished off with a pretty nice score on a retarded failed 360 attempt. Away we go for the Brazilian practice, and we run tyre management again. Now, you're joining me a whole week later for this race, simply because I took a break for a couple of days, then I went on a camping exhibition with my college, in which I completely forgot that I was doing this. The car wasn't feeling so great, it was stiff and understeery as shit, and the tyre management was just non-existent. So I don't bother with finishing the lap, and instead just commit vehicular suicide. Just from the first turn, I could tell that my setup did not really fix my issue of understeer at all. I brought home a whopping P13. Great. It was 5 red lights and away we go for the sprinter Interlagos. And there's always chaos to be found here at the start of this track, but luckily everyone survived somehow and we came out a few positions ahead. Albon tries it up the inside, but we defend it off. And now at this point, we were just basically on a hunt for Norris. We were indeed getting closer and closer to him lap by lap, and we managed to get past him in the first turn. We managed to bring the car home in P8, and on we advanced to the race. A questionable send down the inside of Piastri sees me hitting his rear tyre and losing control, but somehow I still managed to stay ahead and get his P4. Sainz gets ahead, but we immediately get him back. The car was now struggling to stay on track, so I figured it would be time to pit now, and there were no problems with that. Coming out the pits now, just exactly behind Verstappen, can I just say this is the best pit exit out of any track. We send it down the inside of Verstappen, and now we're following close behind Ricciardo, which doesn't really matter because he's going to pit anyway. We will take the DRS off him though to keep Verstappen behind. I didn't really touch the grass, but it still for some reason latched onto my tyre and fucked me over just then. Max tries it up the inside, but for some reason he's missing his end plate on the right side, so that's no problem for us. There were only 2 laps left and Leclerc were 5 seconds ahead, so there was no way I was catching him, so I came home to bag P2. As of right now, we are winning the driver's standings and we are 4th in the constructors. Race weekend in Vegas came around, and I decided to be ballsy and skip practice despite the fact that this is literally one of my worst tracks. I can't drive this track. It was 5 lights to a quali, and to my surprise we actually took it to P6. Don't ask what the fuck I was doing there. It was 5 lights in Vegas and away we go, and Chad Alonso was flying away in P1. My DRS has become unavailable once again, but either way we overtake them both flying down the straight. Alonso goes ahead and pulls an interesting move down the inside, and if I wouldn't have noticed that, he would have definitely wiped me out. These spastic excuses of an artificial intelligence system decided it would be a great idea to go 4 wide into here, and everyone died and brought out the red flag. 5 red lights and away we go for the red flag restart. George Russell goes down the inside and hits his signature move, the rear wheel elimination, and you'll notice I've got a 5-second penalty for some reason and still no DRS. Not exactly what I would consider ideal. Approaching the same straight where everything went to shit, and it would seem that AI has still not learnt their lesson. I have not had DRS this entire race, nevertheless we defend from Alonso, and in doing so we pull a mighty clean drift. Crossing the line in 2nd position, but remember we have a 5-second penalty, so where does that leave us? P15. The season finale of Abu Dhabi comes round, and I end up doing the Pirelli hot lap in this one because I completely forgot to in Vegas, I just realised. It's 5 red lights and away we go for the last Pirelli hot lap of this series, and we're going to use an exterior camera for this one simply because listen to how bad the audio sounds in the cockpit in supercars. It's like I'm in a fucking tornado. Now, in the footage that I'm currently speaking over, it sounds fine, but when I was listening to this playing the game myself with my actual headset on, holy shit, I couldn't even hear the car. It's 5 red lights and away we duel with the man like Tremblay. Things were getting quite spicy between me and him, as I go deep on the outside, but I go a bit too deep and he tries to switch back, but luckily managed to keep him behind. I decided for the last one, for the shits and giggles, I would put my field of view all the way to the maximum. Off we go against Tremblay again with my camera zoomed out as far as possible. I'm not even concentrating properly, and I go a bit too deep, so he tries to go for the switchback, but yet again he couldn't get past, and that's us winning all 3 duels. The actual race of Abu Dhabi comes around. We run track acclimatization, get a purple on that because I'm built different obviously. Run tyre management as well and get a decent score on that. Qualifying came around and Because it's the last race of the season, I'll just commit vehicular suicide one last time and start from the back of the grid.
Right, this championship is still alive and there's still a chance we can win it, so get out there and bring the title home, come on!
Well, you heard what Mark said. It's the final 5 lights and away we go in Abu Dhabi. And within the first few turns, we moved up into P13. And a dive down the inside puts us all the way into P12. We nearly smash into the back of Ocon, overtaking him to get into P10. And going down the inside of Oscar Puff Pastry here gets us into P9. A move down the inside of Russell into turn 1 puts us into 8th. And we sweep past Perez here just like we did to Oscar Piastri. Sending it down on Sainz puts us into 6th. We cleanly sweep Verstappen on that curve, and then we take Alonso exactly where we took Piastri and Perez. Lap 5, we started on the back of the grid, and now we're in P3. We sent it on the inside of Norris, where we sent it on Verstappen, and we bag our P2, now we're chasing Hamilton. We pit on lap 7 behind Hamilton, and there were no problems with that. Everyone pitted, we drove past them, and we're now in P1 after starting P21. I decided for this last bit that I would take line assist off again, and after starting in P21 and then bringing it all the way to a win, you know what? That's the best outcome I could have hoped for the final race. We're coming home now to the checkered flag after a very, very long season, and we bag our win, and we bag the Drivers' Championship.
Yes! Yes! We've done it! That is the world champion right there! Well done!
And well, I'm crowned champion, and that wraps up my career here. I cannot be asked to do another season because that's just long as hell, and plus I'm going to be getting my hands on F1 24 soon, so I'll be doing things on there. Well, thanks for watching this artistic F1 adventure, lads. I'll be putting out other stuff soon, you know. That's not me done with YouTube. I finally got my ass, pulled my fingers up my ass and started to do more shit on YouTube, which was really random, considering I had not uploaded after, I think, almost a year it was. Yeah, I'll bring other stuff. I've gotten back into Destiny 2 as well, which is what shocked me, so I'll be bringing stuff for that as well. I've already got an idea planned for that, but it might take a long time. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one, I guess, boys.